gave you is, what is it? Which number I gave you?
7.
Number 7. Name 2 simple organisms, that is number 6. 6 also I gave you, no?
Yes.
State the role of seminal vesicles. What was the role of seminal vesicles? Why were you absent the other day? इतना दिन का लगता तुमको? 2 घंटे के लिए तुम नहीं आ सकते हो क्लास में? Okay. State the role of seminal vesicles. क्या है? One will answer.
Now into secrete and alkaline secretion that
Lubrication, provide nourishment. Any of the 2 functions you can write. Provide lubrication, easy transport of the male gametes. Provide nourishment to the male gametes. These are the functions. Prostate gland. Prostate gland वही same है. तुम पीछे जाओ. पीछे जाके बैठ. This space, no? Sit comfortably there so that you can do good work. And prostate gland, what is the function? Provide or secrete alkaline secretion that neutralizes the acidity of the female reproductive tract. Nico, I have already told you this. The last class complete. Done. All of you are done with these 2 functions. Number 7, this you should know. 2 simple organisms, ability of regeneration. Planaria and Hydra. Starfish. All these examples you write. Straight away move down to which question now? Number 10. How is the number of chromosomes in the progeny of sexually reproducing organism re-established? ये मैंने explain किया था, but we have not answered any question as such. क्या होगा इसका आंसर? Tell me. यहाँ पे the question is asking you that the number of chromosome in the progeny मतलब new generation organism. तो progeny में sexually reproducing organism में chromosome number re-establish कैसे होता है? What is the answer?
Fertilization.
By the process of fertilization. So that concept you have to explain. Let us write the answer. The number of chromosomes. देखो. What do you call him? Brother. ये कौन सा US में हो तुम brother बुलाते हो? हाँ? हाँ. तो देखो वो क्या लिख रहा है. And take a note. और सारे answers वापस कब तक हाथ ठीक होने की आशंका है?
कल परसों.
हाँ तो लिखना है सारे answers. You have to write all. Now to write this answer there, the number of chromosome in the male and female gametes, are 23 each. Full stop. शरद को पूछ ले एक बार. Next, the process of fertilization. Restores. The process of fertilization restores the chromosome number. To 46 in the zygote. And hence the chromosome number is re-established. इसमें कॉपी कर लेते तो अच्छा था. अच्छा ठीक है चलिए. And hence the chromosome number is re-established. Full stop. This zygote formed with 46 chromosomes undergoes repeated cell division. To form the fetus to form the fetus and the next generation offspring. Forms the fetus and the next generation offspring. Is that clear what you wrote? Number 10. Next, which one I asked you to do? Functions of placenta. What is the function of placenta? Now that's a placenta. These are all parts of the female reproductive system we are talking about. We have already studied the fallopian tube, uterus, ovary. Placenta we haven't studied yet because the process we haven't finished. So, but then you can complete writing down the answer. Let us complete writing down the answer right now. Placenta. What is the placenta? If I talk about in the later diagrams when I show you the entire process of development, now that the fetus develops here, the fetus remains connected to the wall of the uterus by some specialized tissue known as the placenta, and this placenta always provides nourishment. The placenta provides nourishment to the developing embryo. So that is the function that you have to write. I'll show you one more figure specifically for the placenta. Write down now the placenta function. Temporary tissue formed connecting. Temporary tissue formed connecting the developing embryo to the wall of the uterus to provide nourishment to the embryo. Fallopian tube, one function to write. What is the most important function you would write? It is site of fertilization. Site of fertilization. Uterus also we had learned the functions. Ovary also we had learned the functions. One function to write now. Write on your own. One function about the uterus also and ovary. Ovary we had learned two functions, remember. So now for the fallopian tubes, site of fertilization. For uterus, what do you write? Fetus. The entire stage of development of the embryo to fetus. That is in the uterus. Last is the ovary. What are the functions of the ovary? Any one I'm asking you to write now. What are the functions of the ovary we had learned? One is formation of the female gamete ovum, and number two, secretion of the hormones. What are those? Progesterone. Estrogen, progesterone. Right now. If this type of question comes, now that it is a question where 4 parts and functions, so definitely this question will be for 4 marks. But if it is a 2-mark question, so always to understand both the functions to write. Even if it is a 1-mark question, both the functions to write. Because for CBSE there are questions, half of breakup is also there. For one complete function, they give half mark also. So write both. Next is number 17 I gave you. No, 17 I gave you. Go to the next page now, number 19. Name the reproductive parts of an angiosperm. What are the reproductive parts of an angiosperm? Angiosperm means what? Flowering plants. What are the reproductive parts of angiosperm? I cannot accept this. Reproductive parts of the flower, what are those? So, दो word में लिखेंगे तो what will you write? And carpel, stamen and carpel, stamen and pistil. Then you'll have to write statement consisting of such and such parts. Carpal, write down. Reproductive parts of an angiosperm. Use that word in your answer. Get acquainted. Angiosperm is nothing different that they are asking you. It's a flower that they are asking you. Reproductive part of an angiospermic plant. Angiosperm. The stamen and the carpel actually to write and their breakups. Stamen consists of anther filament. Carpel consists of stigma, style, ovary. All the three. Stigma, style, ovary. Number 20 we'll have to do. Number 20, what is puberty? Mention any two changes common to boys and girls in teenage years. Now, when we are talking about the concept of teenage and adolescence, you must have heard about these words. Adolescence and teenage. Why is it a crucial stage of growth? New hormones are developing in the body. New hormones are developing in the body. Along with the new hormones developing, there is not only physical changes in the body, but a lot of behavioral changes also. When you are a child, 5-6 years, and when you will be an adult of 20-25, between this period, the bridge that now you all are going through is the adolescent stage. That is the teenage years that we talk about. So what is happening new in the body, new type of hormones and various different type of behavioral and structural changes. Now the structural changes with reference to the parts of the body, what do we call them as? The last day we had studied. What are they called? Secondary sexual characters, which differentiates a male from a female body. And if I talk about the behavioral features also, there are many. Then what is puberty? This entire period, I would say that when a boy enters into that 11-12 years, till that 19 years of age, this is adolescence. A girl from that 9 to 10 years, till that 18-19 years, that is adolescence. But in this period, till the time the girl and the boy is almost about 14-15 years, till that time, 9 to 10, if it is 9 to 10 starting, then almost by 11 to 14 years, the body starts producing gametes. Just at the onset of adolescence, the body will not produce gametes. The reproductive organs are maturing, developing. So if I say that the adolescence for a girl starts at 9 years, I'm understanding that 9, 10, by the time the girl is 12 years, 12 to 14 years, the body has started producing gametes. So this period, a short phase within adolescence where the body has started producing gametes, that is puberty. For a boy, I would say that now we generally understand 11 years, 11 to 12 years, but the boys is a little bit later. So 11 to 12 years and then the other side till 19 years. So 11 to 12 years, no, at this time the body is not producing gametes. Then when is the body producing gametes? 11 years, 12 years, 13, 14, 15, 16 years, the body has started producing functional gametes. So males attain puberty a little bit later than the females. So then what is the difference between adolescence and puberty? Adolescence is a longer phase of entire period of growth. I would say adolescence is a longer phase. I may understand adolescence starting either by that age 9 to 11 years and here ending up 18 to 19 years. But here, now that I talk about a period of something 13 to 15 years and where the gametes have started forming in the body, this particular period of growth or this particular period of adolescence is what is known as puberty. So if it is a question, differentiate between adolescence and puberty, what are you supposed to write? Adolescence is the period of growth from this particular age period to this particular age period when the reproductive organs are maturing and developing. Within adolescence, a short period when the body has already started producing gametes, new hormones, gametes, that is puberty. So which is a shorter phase? Puberty is always a shorter phase. Adolescence is always a longer phase. And teenage is just a simple word to mention. The specific words are adolescence and puberty. Let us write that answer. What is puberty, right? The period of growth, in human, when the body produces functional gametes. Period of growth in human when the body produces functional gametes is known as puberty. Full stop. In males, the testis starts developing sperms. In males, the testis starts developing sperms, and in females, the ovary starts developing ovum. The ovary starts developing ovum. Any two changes, the next part is, go to the next paragraph, any two changes that common to boys and girls in this period. Any two changes common to both boys and girls. Write down the next paragraph. The bodily changes that takes place, during this period are known as secondary sexual characters. Now, in this question, are you writing actually the secondary sexual characters? No, these are not the common changes in boys and girls. When I have to mention all these, we are just writing down that during this stage, secondary sexual characters does develop. But are the secondary sexual characters common in both male and female? No, none of the features are common. Then during this stage, what is common? Number 2 points already to write here. What are the two things common? Formation of gametes, secretion of the sex hormone. This is common. So we'll have to mention about the development of secondary sexual characters, but this is not the common feature that they are asking in the question. The question says, write any two changes common, right? The next paragraph continue. Bodily changes are known as secondary sexual characters, comma. The common changes that takes place are number 1. Common changes that takes place are number 1. Formation of gametes. And number 2, secretion of the sex hormones. Why do we have to use that word reproductive hormones or sex hormones? Because it is not the adrenaline or the thyroxine that we are talking about. We are only talking about the estrogen, testosterone, these hormones. So that's the reason we have to differentiate. Come to the next question. Which one I asked you now? Number 20. State the importance of chromosomal differences between sperm and eggs. What is the importance? Chromosomal difference between sperm and egg. What is the chromosomal difference first of all?
X
and Y. Oh, this already we have studied in the previous chapter also. Then what is the difference? What is the importance then?
Sex
determination. If the difference would not have been there, then there would not have been anything known as male and female in the population, right? So when we are talking about the differences, is there any difference in the number, male and female gametes? No. Only the type. That also how many pairs there's a difference? Only one pair there's a difference. 22 pairs are exactly the same. What are those 22 pairs known as? Autosomes. And this last pair, 23rd pair that we are talking about, are allosomes. Let us write that answer there. State the importance of chromosomal difference, right? The male gamete has 22 autosomes. The male gamete has 22 autosomes and either a X or a Y chromosome. Male gamete has 22 autosomes and either a X or Y chromosome. Comma. Female gametes have 22 autosomes and an X chromosome. 22 autosomes and an X chromosome. Full stop. Next sentence. When an X carrying sperm fertilizes the ovum. When an X carrying sperm fertilizes the ovum, this results in formation of, you should not write girl, female offspring. Results in the formation of a female offspring. Whereas when a Y carrying sperm fertilizes the ovum, when a Y carrying sperm fertilizes the ovum, Y carrying sperm fertilizes the ovum, this results in formation of a male offspring. Results in formation of a male offspring. So that is 23. After that, I think I asked you 27.
Yes.
27. Read that question and let us start answering it. Read that question. Okay, so what is the first question now? Why is regeneration not the same as reproduction? If for 2 points, if you have to write, what should you write? Why is regeneration not the same as reproduction?
No new organisms will form.
No, they are not talking about why is regeneration not the same as reproduction. In what respect? You have to write the process. For regeneration, we have to not depend on.
It is not dependent to be cut to reproduce.
No, it's not right this way, the points. Why is regeneration not the same as reproduction? Let me give you what are the points I had explained to you. Is regeneration a method of reproduction for an organism? Is regeneration a method by which an organism naturally, normally produces new offsprings? No. So that is the first thing that you write. So Again, regeneration takes place in what type of organisms? Basically, simple organisms can regenerate to form new organisms, complete organisms. So when we are talking about the concept of regeneration and reproduction, how are they different? We will not write much about the variation concept here, because regeneration and reproduction are absolutely different concepts. They are not parallelly methods that we can differentiate this to. Let us write 2 points. And remember what I'll explain again. Why is regeneration not same as reproduction? Write down. The first point you write. Regeneration is a method of regaining. Regeneration is a method of regaining the lost body parts. Regeneration is a method of regaining lost body parts. Yeah, why angry? Regeneration is a method of regaining lost body parts, whereas reproduction is a method of producing new generation of springs. Reproduction is a method of producing new generation of springs. Is this clear what I asked you to write now? Regeneration is never a method, is not a regular method of reproduction or giving rise to offsprings. But yes, sometimes it happens. Why? Because those organisms are so simple. Let us write down that point now. By regeneration, simple organisms may regain body parts and form new organisms. Regain body parts and form new organisms. Full stop. Reproduction is a complex method of cell division and growth. Cell division and growth to complete, or instead of that word complete, you may write to form a new organism. To form a new organism. The last point, I'll give you one more point so that you understand. Forming a complete organism by regeneration. Forming a complete organism by regeneration can happen or take place. Can take place at any stage of can take place at any stage of growth. Example, planaria. Full stop. Other side, the concept of reproduction will have to write. Formation of a new offspring. Formation of a new organism. Formation of a new organism by reproduction starts from embryonic stages. Formation of new organism by reproduction starts from embryonic stages. Now, what are the 3 points you have written again? Remember, what I asked you to write now as differences are, if it is regeneration, Regeneration is a method of regaining lost parts. Reproduction is a programmed process. Zygote hai, zygote se embryo banega, then the fetus and cell, etc., etc. So it's a programmed process. What next you have written? The next point that you have written is that if it is a concept of regeneration by simple methods of cell division, it can give rise to a new organism. But if it is a complex organism and if you are talking about reproduction, no, reproduction is just not a simple method of cell division. Cell division, growth, maturation, so many things are involved. Third point you have written that if it is a process of cell division in case of regeneration, it may take place in simple organisms because simple organisms does not have the complex body structure, so that's the reason it is possible. But if you are talking about reproduction, that is a planned standard method always of giving rise to new organisms. So these are the 3 points that you are writing. With examples for reproduction, you can give any example of vertebrate, invertebrate, anything. So that is about 27A. Number B, list any 2 advantages of producing plants through vegetative propagation. This very, very simple to understand. What are some 2 advantages that you can write by the process of vegetative propagation now that the plants are formed? What are vegetative propagation? The first advantage would be identical. Large number of plants can be obtained in a short period of time. Then plants which do not develop by seeds, they also can be propagated in large numbers. And can be obtained new varieties. New varieties also can be obtained in a short period of time. If we have to go by the method of pollination, fertilization, and then we want to get new varieties, it is a matter of chance. We have to wait for years for those experiments to work out. But if it is vegetative reproduction, if it is grafting, no. For grafting, do we have to wait for so many years? No. Grafting will once, twice, thrice, it will work out. So what are some major advantages? Number 1, large number of identical plants can be obtained in a short period of time. Number 2, plants such as the grapes and the strawberries which actually does not grow by seeds. So seedless plants also can be propagated in large numbers. Number 3, plants with improved characteristics, new varieties also can be obtained by methods of grafting. So you have to name those methods at that time. Methods like grafting can help in producing new varieties. So there's no need of writing again. Process of budding you know, but related to that, let us answer some questions. See sub number 2 now. What happens when? Process of budding also I am now discussing. That's very simple. See sub number 2. What happens when spirogyrophilament matures and attains considerable length? What happens after that? It will break up into few fragments and grow to complete the new organism. Fragmentation, a method known as fragmentation. A sporangia in rhizopus bursts when mature. Large number of spores will be released, which under favorable condition will again grow into new organisms. So that part you will have to explain in 4 by sentences. Is that clear? Number 28. 28, just a repetition, will not write that. You can just discuss this out. Number 28B. A strikeout, B. Does the male child inherit X chromosome from the father?
No.
Y chromosome from the father, X from the mother always. How many types of gametes are produced by the human female? 1. 2 basic. Type, no. Type. How many types of gametes? Males will produce 2 types, half with X, half with Y, and the female will produce always 1 type. The female produces only 1 type. Okay. So, few more questions we will have to do, and you have to go on trying with all those questions. Now, next, what are we going to study? We continue with this part of the chapter there. All of you have drawn the diagram of the female system. What did we study the other day was that in the female system, when we are talking about the female system, what are the parts? Those of you who are not there, the other class, see that you complete drawing the female system, the diagram of the female system, very common to see in your papers, and always this particular diagram is asked. Now, yes, the other day, I think we completed with certain definitions. What were those definitions that we had completed with? What was ovulation? What was the definition of ovulation that we had learned? Release of
developing ovum from the
ovary. Release of developing ovum from the ovary. And then what were some features that we had already come across, that now that the process of ovulation happens? Let me start from there again. So when we are talking about the concept of ovulation, we had already learned inside the ovary, what are some features? If you look into the section of the ovary, the section of the ovary would always show that there are some basic processes happening inside. I had already explained to you this the other day, that whenever we talk about the section of the ovary, what is happening inside the ovary? The formation of the female gametes. The process of formation of the female gametes, and if you still remember, we had talked about a structure known as the Graafian follicle. What was the Graafian follicle? Which is shown like this, that it's a big cell, a cell-like structure, and inside that Graafian follicle, what is happening? The formation of the female gametes. How many female gametes? 4 female gametes. But why do we consider only 1 in the process of fertilization? Because the maximum amount of cytoplasm. I think I gave you that answer. What is the difference? That how come that one give reason question? Did I give you? Check. The testis produces 4 functional gametes and ovary produces only 1. I think so. Remember that concept always. So when we are talking about that, this particular ovary, it undergoes various stages of cell division but produces only 1 gamete. What is the reason? If I talk about that one particular cell from the ovary, this one particular cell from the ovary, what type of cell division will it undergo? It will definitely undergo meiosis, but the characteristic here is it produces 3 gametes which are comparatively smaller, with scanty cytoplasm, and 1 cell will be there with a large amount of cytoplasm, the maximum concentration of cytoplasm here. What was the reason? During the process of meiosis, if it is the male gamete, all the cytoplasm and the nuclear content equally distributed. If it is the female gamete, if I talk about the cell of the ovary, the process of cell division is a bit different, where the cytoplasm all gets concentrated at 1 cell and the other 3 get a small amount. But the nuclear content same all over. So this particular gamete, which is the largest with maximum concentration of the cytoplasm, that is what is known as flip and swap chali raha hai aapse. So now, when we are talking about what is ovum, the potential female gamete. Ovum is the potential female gamete. Now, let us start from this concept again. That when the ovum is mature, fully formed inside the ovary, it will undergo a process known as ovulation. Now, this particular ovary releases the ovum. Where will the ovum enter? It will enter into the fallopian tube. But this ovum is not fully mature. It will undergo certain stages of maturation, and this ovum now, the female gamete, if it comes in contact with a male gamete at this time, what is this process now? So during the lifespan of the female gamete, if it comes in contact with the male gamete, now we understand a process known as fertilization. And always remember the definition of this word. What is the definition of this word? The fusion of 1 male gamete with 1 female gamete to form a single cell zygote. So now what will it give rise to? It will give rise to a zygote. this word zygote, how do you define? The zygote is a single cell formed by fertilization and containing the diploid number of chromosomes, containing complete chromosome number. What is that complete chromosome number for human? 46. But now that this cell has 46 chromosomes, how will this cell behave? It will immediately enter into processes of cell division. It will immediately enter into processes of cell division. So what will happen to this zygote? If I understand this zygote, it starts certain stages of cell division. First of all, it will divide into 2 cells. Then it will divide into 4 cells. So the processes of cell division is progressive like this. 2 cells. What type of cell division we are talking about? This type of cell division is known as mitosis, where the number of cells are always increasing, becoming double every time. So by this process of cell division, what now next? We come across a multicellular structure will be formed. But now if I show that this is a multicellular structure now getting formed, what will this multicellular structure be now known as? This multicellular structure will term it as an embryo. Then what is the difference between zygote and embryo? The difference between zygote and embryo is zygote is a single cell containing 46 chromosomes. What about an embryo? Embryo is a multicellular structure where every cell is containing 46 chromosomes. Write down this. What is the difference between a zygote and embryo? What is the difference between zygote and embryo? That you should know it very carefully, very correctly to write in the paper. Difference between zygote and embryo. What is it? Zygote is a single cell formed after fertilization. Zygote is a single cell formed after fertilization containing 46 chromosomes. Containing 46 chromosomes. Embryo is a multicellular structure. Embryo is a multicellular structure formed due to repeated cell division. Formed due to repeated cell division of zygote. Formed due to repeated cell division of zygote, and every cell contains 46 chromosomes. Every cell contains 46 chromosomes. Clear till here? So now if I talk about the embryo, now what's happening? This embryo, now that the single cell got converted into the embryo, this process of cell division must be requiring adequate amount of nourishment. Then from where did the zygote get the nourishment? From the cytoplasm. The nourishment, the nutrients packed up in the cytoplasm. But these nutrients which are packed up in the cytoplasm, can it provide or can it carry out the process of cell division throughout the period of fetal growth? No, only few stages. Then till what particular period? By the time this embryo is almost about 8 to 16 cells. By the time the embryo is almost about 8 to 16 cells, the nourishment which is packed up in the embryo or the cells of the embryo are all getting over, all getting exhausted. Then now what? At this particular period of time, once the embryo is almost about 8 to 16 cell stage, if it does not get any source of nourishment, this embryo will start drying out. A process known as abortion also, early premature abortion. But then the body is made up in such a way that at the moment this particular process is going on and the cells are running out of their reserve food, what will happen? This embryo will start making an attachment with the uterine wall. The embryo will start making an attachment with the uterine wall. So what is this process now known as? This process is known as implantation. What is this process? How to define? Implantation always takes almost about 7 to 8 days after fertilization. Write down the definition. After this, I'll give you this. What is the definition of implantation? The process of attachment. The process of attachment of the developing embryo process of attachment of the developing embryo to the wall of uterus, to the wall of uterus to obtain nourishment, to obtain nourishment is known as implantation. Okay, let the diagram be here as it is. We'll continue after that.
कुछ नहीं, पासवर्ड देख लिया।
हो गया हाँ
अरे कुछ भी पढ़ना है जो दूसरे यूट्यूब पर दूसरे से पहला चैप्टर अच्छे से पढ़ा ये सब साथ
ऐसे बैठे तो हमारे लिए मेरे को हरे गया
जैसे पहला चैप्टर अच्छे से पढ़ा और दूसरा चैप्टर स्टार्टिंग वाला फिजिक्स वाला स्टार्टिंग वाला वो सारे मेरे बायोलॉजी वाला नहीं पढ़ा मैथ्स वाला ने भी यूज हो गया और का एसएसटी हो गया चल लाइक मेरे पास वो
हळू भाऊ हळू हळू नहीं ऊपर कर देना।
अबे 12 फीट दुख रहा है। आगे
एक क्वेश्चन
और वो भी आपने मैच पे भी वो चल रहा है ट्रायंगल
बंद कर दे, नींद आ रही है।